Well, hello and a very warm welcome back to the Andrew Eborn Show. I'm delighted that my special guest is none other than Rodney Earl Clarke. How are you, Rodney?
I'm very well, managing to keep warm in this snowy, wintry weather.
I'll tell you what, it's pretty nippy, isn't it?
It is.
So whereabouts are you at the moment? I love your backdrop, by the way. It's one of those sort of backdrops that people get on those little screens, a sort of screensaver. But I reckon that's real.
I can assure you it's real because I can walk back into it.
Oh, look at you! Look at you! Everything. Fantastic. So are you down in South East London?
No. I'm a bit further down south. I'm in East Sussex, actually, just by the Ashdown Forest.
Oh, I love the Ashdown Forest.
Yes. No, we've got a nice opportunity to go for our long walks in the forest there. So we're very lucky.
Something about even in lockdown when you can exercise and just get out in the sort of countryside. It's brilliant, isn't it?
I love it.
Yeah. So how's lockdown been for you?
It's been. I mean, the first time round in March, it was quite okay. It was a nice break from a really hectic schedule at work. And I think it kind of took about 4 or 5 weeks until the novelty wore off, and it started to feel like, okay, I'm really missing the stage. Let's get back to work, please. And but everyone, I mean, I'm not the only one who had kind of various lockdown projects, and took shares out in Homebase. I was there traveling every day, grabbing a random piece of wood and some screws to try.
Are you any good at it? Is that how you knocked up your piano behind you? Is that?
Well, I'm not bad. I'm not bad at DIY. I just have quite a good eye, and I never like to use instructions.
Oh, is that right? But that's okay, because they often say at some of these hardware places the leg's missing or there's a screw missing or those things. So it's great, but that's what I love about these things. The other thing that's happening, people become so creative. We have a lot of superstars and everyday folk on the show, and they've all talked about ways that they've basically reinvented themselves. Because I think you miss if you're doing a live performance, there's something about getting an interaction with a massive audience, isn't there?
Yeah, there is. I mean, you can't substitute that kind of visceral feeling of seeing the audience kind of, admiring the work that you're doing and really getting into it, and that kind of the feeling. And I think that's what is interesting is quite a lot of my colleagues, friends and colleagues are found that lockdown, they found themselves kind of reevaluating why they actually do what they do. And whether it was, some people it could be, I just simply like to perform. It's a very kind of a somewhat selfish or kind of indulgent kind of thing. And then you take that away. And then a lot of my colleagues are feeling like, I'm not quite sure what I'm supposed to be doing right now. But others, it's that kind of, that real connection with the audience and that ability to kind of make a difference through music and creation and performance and entertainment.
Yeah, and music is so powerful. I've had lots of guests on the show who just talk about the power of music. I mean, from Paul Harvey, who was the composer with dementia, who got a £1 million donation to that fantastic ballerina, I don't know if you saw her, who did that Swan Lake Marta Saldana from Spain, who was a principal ballerina. And she was in this dark world of Alzheimer's, I think she had. And they put the headphones on her and they played that theme tune or the relevant track from Swan Lake. And she started doing the beautiful gestures of when she was the principal ballerina. And I'll tell you what, there was not a dry eye in the house. I mean, it was incredible. And it's something called Music to Awaken, in Spanish they call it, where they're basically looking at the power of music and how good that is for connecting the relevant things in the brain.
Well, it's like perfume, isn't it? When you smell a certain perfume and then it takes you back to that moment in time or that interaction with that special person that you had. I personally find music has this capability, and I'm actually missing. You asked me how lockdown is going, and I think one of the things that I miss is that smell of the auditorium, that smell of the backstage, all those things that are going to conjure up all the images and set off a whole cascade of thoughts and bodily functions,
Bodily functions? I'm not sure.
Sweat.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yes, no, it's all, but you are right, and they always say, I mean, the doctors who we've had on the show as well, they always say that when we get older, one of the last things that go is our sense of smell and obviously that sort of sensory side and our hearing, if you like, in terms of our memory. If you go into an old house and it triggers that sort of stuff, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean it's the very immediate thing, and I think one of the ways I've got through the lockdown was running around and doing what I do. I didn't often have time to actually listen to other types of music, and I started listening to a lot of Bach and St. John Passion and immersing myself in this kind of the melancholy of of things, death in this position, in this scenario, but it really kind of it helped me kind of, it's very cathartic. It helped me get through my days. It helped me kind of refocus and shape how I kind of evaluated my life, value my life.
Yeah, and you're right. It does make us sort of reevaluate things. I mean, you grew up. I always sort of say, show me a child to the age of 7, and I'll show you the man. When you grew up, Jamaican parents, you have 3 brothers and a sister. Grew up in Southeast London, so I know Southeast London well. It's all good stuff.
Southeast London. You see, New Cross.
Yeah,
loved it.
But I used to live at New Cross Gate, so I was at Leyland Road, what used to be the old Millwall football ground.
Ah, right. Okay, so you had a very noisy Saturday afternoon every week.
Kind of noisy every time, actually. But I tell you what was brilliant though, Rodney, is the community down there. They always say the people down south are a bit friendlier, and I have to say there's maybe a little bit in that because our neighbours were brilliant. I mean, the neighbours that we have in Leyland, there's a wonderful couple called Dot and Arthur Moyer, who are sadly no longer with us. But they were like surrogate parents to me. And there is that wonderful sense, New Cross Gate, and there used to be the Montague Arms. I don't know if that's still there. The Montague Arms.
I know the Montague Arms, yes. I never set foot in it, but I do
Did
know
you not? Oh, I tell you, you missed the treat, Rodney, because every Sunday used to be a brilliant Sunday roast. And they used to have this fantastic live music, which we always love in those sort of old pubs, and really miss that sort of side.
But you see, you're talking about having a Sunday roast. I have Jamaican mother, Jamaican parents.
Oh, but I like a jerk chicken. I'll come round for a jerk chicken. There's quite a few jerk chicken down there, you know.
Oh, that smell when we used to go away on a Sunday morning to sing in Cathedral choir, and then I come home, and we'd step out the car, you smell that food wafting out the house.
Are you a good cook yourself? Do you do cooking?
I'm not bad, but I'm very fortunate to have a very beautiful, resourceful wife.
Resourceful and beautiful.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yes. So
I mean, you talk about growing. I mean, you went to St George's Cathedral in Southwark, didn't you? Used to sing there as a choir boy.
That's right. So, I was there from the age of 7, and I think one of the things about turning up at St George's Cathedral was you kind of did it. It kind of happened. It was like my parents were both looking at ways of how best to kind of to give extracurricular activities to all their children. What were the other younger boys and girls doing at that time? And my parents were very, very good at kind of seeking out opportunities for us. And I can't tell you how important St George's Cathedral was for me. Singing from the age of 7 all the way up to my voice breaking around 15, but then I continued as a bass and just got used to performing in front of quite large congregations, especially because it was the head of the diocese, you see.
Oh, wonderful stuff. And well, I used to be in the choir. What I liked about being in the choir is we used to get paid for weddings. And I think when I was there, I used to get 50p a wedding in my day. I can't say I had the best voice, but I was quite good at lip syncing. And the 50, so I think you stand there and try and look angelic with your robes on and things like that. It's really good. But how big was the choir at St George's?
If I recall, about when it kind of took many what's the word I'm looking for? The numbers varied, to put it that way.
Yeah.
From I think about maybe 15 trebles to maybe 10 tenors and basses. And when I was there, the thing is, you talked about being paid. for like the odd wedding. Yes, I got the £25 for a wedding, but
25 quid. I got 50p. Look at you with your 25 quid.
We're showing our age now, aren't we? No,
Poking.
the curious thing was that it wasn't until I left many years ago and started singing at many other churches around London on the depths circuit, as it were, you jumping in and on a Sunday morning and sight reading a piece of music and being paid for it, that I suddenly thought, hang on a minute, this is a bit weird, because I never had that when I was growing up in St George's. So St George's was very much a learning ground for me to kind of train my ear. Although I was practicing the piano then, I didn't really kind of put two and two together with the dots on the page. I was more I used my ear a lot to learn the music, and it was really an opportunity for me to feel part of a team and feel part of a socially diverse team, mind you. And it was a fantastic experience that I would kind of.
And there's a real community, isn't there? Sometimes with the choir and stuff, you obviously get a lot of choir practice and things like that. But you then, I mean, when did you realise, or did somebody tell you, look, you, Rodney, should be taking this a little bit further, because you went on to do shows afterwards. What was that sort of catalyst for making that transition?
I always knew that I wanted to sing and perform, and from my earliest recollection, I think I was because I went to an all boys primary school, and I had the wonderful opportunity of playing the Virgin Mary in the nativity play.
You played the Virgin.
Yes, me. I played the Virgin Mary.
Look at you ahead of
I know. Well, look, it's and I had a basketball put up my tummy, and
did you?
My mother made me this amazing outfit to look like Mary. So you
do you
can
have
see
pictures?
Somewhere.
Next time we're going to get you back on the show. I want to see those photos.
but I say all this because I've always sung, and I think when I was probably 15, 16, I was very much into drama, theatre and drama, and I went to a fantastic secondary school, Dulwich College, where they had a very, very strong
lovely place. Love it.
Yeah, as sport, drama, as well as the academic excellence, obviously. And there I really wanted to marry the two. I wanted to marry my voice with the acting. And I have to take my hat off to my tutor at the time, and also the head of music at my school, who spotted something in me. He said, look, you're going to nurture this talent. And they themselves put me in touch with the head of vocal studies at the Royal Academy of Music. So that's how it started for me.
Oh, fantastic. Right next door to me here in Regent's Park. So it's
that's right.
Yeah, I know. I was literally next door. So it's
wonderful.
Fantastic.
Wonderful.
We get to hear people, and it's a glorious place, isn't it? Because you've got a fantastic performance space. And we hear various people in their little rooms practicing all sorts of instruments. But the other thing is, what I should ask you, I'm growing up in South East London, called Rodney, the other famous Rodney from South East London, from Peckham. Did you get ribbed a little bit at school?
You know, I got ribbed for many, many things, but what I'll remember, I'll never forget that episode where he tried to bottle the water and called it Peckham Springs. It was brilliant. It was absolutely.
Only Balls and Horses, classic, isn't it?
It is an absolute classic. But look, it's South East London, the eclectic mix, the smells, the surrounding I had. I do miss it. And you know, when out of lockdown, when you have the opportunity to go back there, because my folks are still there,
right?
It's a very good leveler, and you know, remind me to keep my feet.
Oh no, but I also say it's that
feet on the ground.
The whole sense of community, Rodney, as well, is what I love. So I used to love walking down the markets and hearing I know we've talked about the trotters and that sort of stuff, and only Balls and Horses, but actually there's a wonderful camaraderie in the patter that you hear market traders do. You know, I just like to anywhere I go around the world, I love to go to the markets.
Yeah.
So really, really good. So talk to me then. You obviously made that transition then, the Royal Academy next door to us here. You then went, you were Carmen Jones, or you were in Carmen Jones Royal Festival Hall. Talk to me about that.
So this was back in 2004, I want to say. The House South Bank was undergoing a huge renovation. And I was very fortunate enough to work with a fantastic director, and Jude Kelly. She was actually the artistic director of the South Bank Centre at the time, and
on the town and Bernstein, absolutely,
and on the town. But Carmen Jones, I think it was It seemed to be like what way can we reboot, re-energize the South Bank Centre with a true representation of everyone around, and Carmen Jones ran for many weeks, and I played Husky Miller boxer, and had an amazing time learning how to box and get in shape in the gym. It's something that I'm okay for now.
But that's really good as well, Rodney, isn't it? So a lot of people say that boxing now has suddenly become, it's not just the pubs down the Old Kent Road. It really is. And I think there's a Henry Moore down there as well, isn't there?
It's halfway up the Old Kent Road.
Yeah, I remember that one. Yeah. You had a boxing thing above it, so I remember all that.
Above the thing, yes.
But it's the Avenue Health thing, isn't it? Because it's really good for you, boxing.
Yeah, it's a good cardio workout, and it also trains the mind, because like most things, it's all about, there's a lot of psychology involved in boxing, in sport, in communication, in how you interact with people, and I kind of enjoyed that, because I found a huge relationship with how I perform, and no, it was a great experience.
And it's it's immersing yourself in that, so you actually get part of the role. It's not just the singing; you really are training yourself with the boxing and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And so you then went on to, I mentioned on the town, the Bernstein. Did you enjoy that?
One of my favorite musicals.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been fortunate enough to do it a couple of times now, and the music gets to me every time. It's a story, a wonderful story. 24 Hours in New York City. Sailors come off the ship. They are new, they're green, they're fresh. They've never been here before, and the character that I played was someone who's been there, who is a New Yorker, and well, I played 3 or 4 characters actually, but it was the music is absolutely amazing, and it was and as I said, I've had the opportunity to perform it many times across the years.
Very fantastic. And you've also been involved with lots of other things. I mean, the 80th birthday celebration for Sondheim as well. Talk to me about that.
Oh, now that was amazing, because here's you grow up listening to a whole wealth of music, and to be in a room where you're one of many people celebrating a milestone birthday for an amazing composer. It was a fantastic thing to be part of at the Royal Albert Hall, which, one of the things, talking about the lockdown, going back to lockdown, it was so sad to see an empty Royal Albert Hall. It's so sad to see how the proms had to be reduced to the kind of the version it was, and the Royal Albert Hall holds a very special place in my heart, because not only I've kind of done it all in that building. I was an usher many years ago at Royal Albert Hall. I was then a chorister in the BBC Symphony Chorus, so I sang at the last night of the proms many years running, and then a soloist out the front, and obviously presenting on the BBC for one of the proms also. So I feel that I understand what that building means. I understand what that building means
it's amazing, it's amazingly versatile as well, Rodney. When I was a baby lawyer, I used to represent the Albert Hall, the firm that I was with, a firm called Stevenson Harwood. And we would go along to lots of the events. And they did everything from having sporting events, I think there was badminton, there was boxing there, to seeing different people play, some fantastic artists. But it is one of the most magical venues, isn't it?
It is. It's a very, as you say, it's a very versatile building. And I remember watching the indoor tennis.
Right.
You always got excited to see whether you were kind of asked to position yourself on the door, on the outside of the rim, or in the auditorium. And if you're in the auditorium, you had a good night, you had a good shift.
And that must be terrible when you're outside and you can hear all the things inside.
Oh yeah. Completely, yeah.
Oh, brilliant. No, I love that sort of place, which is wonderful. Well, the other person who uses the venue a lot is Raymond Gubbay. obviously,
Yes.
and all his stuff. And he's brought classical music to the masses, hasn't he? I mean, he's fantastic stuff. He did the Crazy for Gershwin, and you were involved with that side as well, weren't you?
That's right. Yeah, I mean, Raymond's been an important part of my career, and I've admired the work that he's done over the years, and his ability to kind of know his audience and to keep his audience, and always looking for ways of bringing music in an interesting way to as many people as possible. I was part of his Crazy for Gershwin show, which is a wonderful evening of it's called a toe tapping extravaganza, for want of a better phrase.
Well, Raymond knows how to get the audiences in.
Yeah,
He's got that
yeah,
stuff in him.
exactly. And wonderful show tunes from "I've Got a Crush on You" through to a little Porgy Bess excerpt, and yeah, it's a wonderful evening. Tap dancing, ballroom dancing, all mixed together.
You dance as well? Do you like your dancing?
I can be taught to move.
I think they always say if you're smiling, it doesn't matter what your feet are doing. I think that's
well, it's kind of like on Zoom, isn't it? You have no idea what I'm wearing.
If I move around a bit, it's kind of good. I don't know. But you also, I mean, you did the David Jacobs tribute concert as well with some glorious people like Michael Ball and Gary Williams and various others. How was that?
So the Friday Night's Music Night is a fantastic institution, as it were, and I think it was one of the things that struck me the times that I've worked there. The producers try and find as broad a palette as possible, but they're kind of limited with their budget, so they have to get kind of just one or a couple of singers, and to be asked to have been to do that really gave me the opportunity to show as many people as possible my versatility, and not just singing in opera or musical theatre, but pop songs and other music. And no, I enjoyed that, and it's so nice to be working at that high level, rubbing shoulders with the likes of Michael Ball and Hannah Waddingham, as you mentioned, and of course Gary. So yeah, no,
what I love about all those artists, they're actually really great to be around. Michael is so giving in terms of people that he works with, and the recent collaboration got to #1 with the oldest ever person to get to #1 so far, the wonderful Captain Sir Tom Moore, who passed away, a national institution, national treasure, which they use far too often. But he was an inspiration, a global inspiration, wasn't he, Captain Sir Tom Moore?
Yes, I mean it was, to lead from the front, and to, it's one of those things where we're reminded of how much of how important it is to look after the elderly and those who've kind of trodden a path before us. And I suppose that's kind of where I find myself in now, at the juncture in my career, with what I'm doing with my music. How best can I serve the community? How best can I what can I leave behind? What path can I help to clear? And that's it. It was a fantastic thing that he did, and God rest his soul.
Oh no, absolutely, and it was inspirational. Just tell you, it's never too late to be the best you're ever going to be. Work on that sort of basis, and it's so encouraging. At 100 years old, that's what he did. #1 with Michael Ball was absolute delight. And you talk about sort of helping people and that sort of stuff. One of the things that you're using is music to help people with stuttering. Talk to me about that.
So I've stuttered from the age of around 12, and I kind of had an interesting experience with it throughout throughout my secondary school, because I kind of adopted a way of not speaking out or not putting my hand up enough in class. And I wouldn't say I was a recluse by any stretch of the imagination, but as I said before, I found a real release in singing. I found a real release in drama and theatre. And especially during lockdown now, lots of my fabulous colleagues teaching singing, etc. And, but I thought to myself, look what I learned. Look at the set of skills and breathing techniques that I learned over the years. And wouldn't it be wouldn't it be a fantastic thing if I kind of galvanized the 7 years of training at Royal Academy of Music and crystallized it into a manageable, easily digestible online course to help people with their speech? Because I found that when I had a greater understanding of how the human voice works, it helped me to get through my stutter. Like right now, I'm almost singing my phrase to you, Andrew, right? Because we know when we sing, we don't stutter. So I just wanted to find a way of giving back, of helping other people, and at this moment, and to date, I'm having a really great time and getting some amazing feedback from the course. So.
And it is great. I always say when you have people in the public eye, such as yourself, and you talk about these things, because the world is quite a horrible place sometimes. That people get teased and other things, and they try and work out how people themselves have coped. And so you get somebody in the public eye talking about it. We've got obviously the new president of the United States, Joe Biden. Yes. He talked about how he stuttered for years. You might remember years ago we had Gareth Gates, who
of course
stuttered when he first went on the talent show. But when he sang, for some reason, the stutter just disappeared, didn't it?
Yeah, that's because we use a different neurological pathway for speech than we do for singing. So I'm just all about not trying to make people be the world's best singer, but helping them really understand how much fun they can have singing. It's an endorphin-rich experience. You know, if you're happy, it's going to make you calmer inside, and if you're calmer inside, the whole process of communicating is going to be a lot easier.
I mean, which makes a huge amount of sense. So if people want to find out more, I mean, you've got singing, speaking.
That's right.
You do as an online course as well. How's that going? How many people have you got coming along to that? I've
got a great. So what I'm doing at the moment, I've had such a great response, but I also wanted to crystallize it into a 6-week program, because it's very important to know how much time to dedicate towards the parts of the course. So I'll be launching that the next round of that on the 28th of February. And people can check out, if you check out my website, /singing speaking, rodneyearlclarke.com/singing speaking, they can get more information about that there.
And you're very good at social media, because I see it every 5 seconds, you're popping up and you're following me here, and you're on the YouTube. Follow Andrew.
Well, it's got to be done. It's got to be done, hasn't it?
And you subscribe to my YouTube channel, Octopus TV, do stuff. Brilliant. Yes. I love your social media thing. So absolutely, and all accolade to you for singing, speaking. I think that there will be lots of people watching this who say, look, actually, there is a way to do this. There are other people, because so often people just feel alone and ostracized. They wonder why they're different. And the reality is there are a number of people who have these different things in great inspirational way of coping.
Exactly. And you see, it's about, especially in the time that we have now, locked away and being able to think about our lives, our contributions, our choices that we've made throughout life. It's I've come to the conclusion that we all need to help each other. We need to come together. We need to find some kind of common ground and work out how we can understand our past, how we came to where we are now, in order to move forward and just get along better with each other. Life is too short.
Well, you're absolutely right, and that's the other thing which you've used music to shine a spotlight on is prejudice and racism and all the abhorrent things in our society, which we're all working really hard, particularly in sport and so on and so forth. You have virtually every day you're hearing more reports about this. But the more we can shine a spotlight on this abhorrent behavior, the more we can do something about it. And talk to me then about Mantra, which is part of, and the finishing thing with a project which I've known for a long time, actually, about voices for reconciliation. And that's a project which I've been following for some time now. And your particular one, you finish, I think it's the first side or whatever it is, whatever they call that sort of side, but you finish with Mantra. Talk to me about that and how that came about.
Well, the interesting thing is that I've been working for many years on this piece called Voices for Reconciliation with the amazing composer team, Anthony and Genna Sadler. And what we found was that the piece itself, we wanted to show a breadth of atrocities, a way through, by showing that we're trying to educate people, and through an education one gets a greater understanding, and it's only once we have that understanding that we can get some kind of reconciliation. And as the years went by, various events were happening in the world, and so it became really important to keep revisiting the piece, reshaping, remolding, making sure that it was both current and reflecting what is happening right now. And with Mantra, with the terrible event, murder of George Floyd, it really hit home at how important it was for us to tell the story, how important it was for us to help people ask the questions, how did we get here? And so Mantra arrived. Mantra is a song for our time. It's about a way of asking for togetherness. It's not a mantra in itself, but it's asking for a mantra. It's really begging, pleading the world to reshape the way it looks at things, to find within us whether we can find greater a celebration of identity. Doesn't matter your color, creed, sexual orientation. We need to celebrate this, because through celebrating that, we can hopefully find a common ground and realize that, we're human beings.
And it is that common ground, isn't it? You sort of, if you prick me, do I not bleed? If you tickle me, do
Exactly.
I not laugh? I mean, we are underneath all of this. We are the same. And I long for the world where it is irrelevant. We should be blind to, prejudice. We should be blind to race, color, creed, any sexual orientation, whatever it happens to be, where it's just about people.
You say we must be blind to it, but you see, I'll challenge you that, Andrew, a little, because one has to be very careful, of course, not to push to one side or dismiss something that has happened to a particular person, to a particular culture, but rather shine a spotlight on that and learn lessons from it. And also, now there is the what's the word I'm looking for, times are changing now, that people are wanting the answers, are wanting to ask searching questions. I get questions asked, has that happened to you? Tell me, have you experienced racism? I said, well, of course I have. Of course I have. Yeah, but how? And knowing the different ways in which people are abused and face prejudice, and knowing that these things happen, acknowledging why they happen, and then and only then can we even begin to try and move forward from it. So it's very important for me to say that I hear you, I acknowledge, I recognize, and I want to change, or help change, or be part of that change.
Look, and you're absolutely right. We are saying the same thing. I think you're right. We don't push under the carpet what's happened in the past.
Yeah.
Horrible things have happened in history.
Mm-hmm.
You recognize the history. My point is, I long for a world where, exactly. That's what I'm saying, exactly.
Yeah.
Where we don't have history repeating itself. And I think it's only by not pretending it hasn't happened. You have to understand, you have to so people try to understand why there are these big movements like Black Lives Matter and so on and so forth. It's not about people get the wrong response. They're not saying all lives matter. It's not about that. It's recognizing there has been this inequality. And you cannot pretend there hasn't been this inequality. It's trying to redress the balance, isn't it? Is that a fair summary?
Oh, it's a complete fair summary. And also, you know, I've got to look at what I've done over the years and look at the power of music and how the power of music, how music has the power to uplift. I mean, this song is incredibly uplifting. It's incredibly rousing, and it's a real, an exciting call for the world to find this mantra to live by. And so I'm very, very excited by the opportunity given to me to be the voice, the go between, the spokesperson, you know, asking these questions and being at the forefront of this. And
Mandra, I mean, it's a beautiful piece, and your voice just encapsulates all of that. Fantastic, and really, as I say, it sort of gets you to the core when you hear a voice coupled with those really powerful lyrics. And talking about getting to the core, this weekend, come on, this is going to be the venue of all venues. You're going to be singing the national anthem for the Six Nations Rugby. How did that come about?
I was asked a couple of weeks ago would I like to perform the national anthem, and
a couple of weeks ago, that's a bit short.
Well, you know how it happens in these things. Everyone's getting things arranged last minute. No, it was a little longer than that, but I can't wait. It's going to be an amazing event, amazing opportunity, and you know, we all know how sport has the opportunity to galvanize people, to bring people together, and if I can be part of that process, then that's a fantastic thing, and I'm very much looking forward to it.
It's going to be amazing. I mean, it's going to be a bit weird as well, isn't it? Because every time I've been to Twickenham, I mean, the last time I was there, it was packed. I've seen everything from the Rolling Stones there to big rugby matches to other things, and it's always been packed to the rafters. So how's it going to work?
So as far as I understand it, there's not going to be 82,000 people in that stadium. It's just going to be the players on the pitch, and it's going to be a very different event. But what I'd say, I say, look, at least I won't have to be fighting with the crowd who often sing the national anthem that little bit behind you all the time.
I know.
So I kind of have no excuse. So I have to get it right and be on point. And
I love it. And you know the second verse as well. You can do both verses.
No, I'm not, but there are actually 3 verses, Andrew.
You see. Well,
yeah.
So how many verses are you going to do?
Just the one.
The one. Now, we do. Well, it's going to be brilliant. I love it, whatever happens. And it's going to be interesting because they pipe in. They normally pipe in the crowd for purposes of television.
Yeah, they can. Yeah,
I was just going to wonder if they were going to pipe in the crowd singing along to you, but I think you've answered.
Well, who knows? I mean, it'd be quite amazing if they did, actually. A bit more of the vibe.
We should tune in to watch that. Now, we did say at the beginning that if you were so minded and felt like it, you might finish us with maybe a tune or two. What do you think?
Well, I why not?
Fantastic. What would you like to sing us out?
Well, I just think I could sing the chorus section to Mantra.
I think the chorus section to Mantra would be the perfect way to do it. Rodney Earl Clarke, has been an absolute pleasure having you on the show, and to sing us out the chorus section to Mantra. Go get it and watch at the weekend to see her battling no crowd at all to sing the national anthem. I'm going to let you play out. Rodney Earl Clarke, it's been a real pleasure having you on the show. It's over to you.
Andrew, it's been such a joy and wonderful to meet you. Thanks for having me. A mantra to educate each other, so the beauty within us can be seen. Let's learn to celebrate identity and raise our heads with pride. A mantra where all respect their kin, so a better world together can begin.
tell you what, Rodney. That's what I love about this show is I get serenaded. It's superb. It has been an absolute delight. My brother's called Rodney as well, so he'll be delighted. Another Rodney. We like the Rodneys. Rodney Earl Clarke, thank you so much for being my guest.
Thank you, you take care.
Take care. Bye-bye. So thank you again to the fabulous Rodney Earl Clarke for being my guest. What a treat that was. If you'd like to be a guest on the show, or if you have any comments, you can write to me at guests@Andrew or guest@octopustv.com. Don't forget, you can follow me at Andrew Eborn, @OctopusTV, and don't forget to subscribe on all of the usual platforms. But thank you again for joining me. I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye-bye.